it is the stuff of nightmares, but for one athlete, it became her reality. When Emily Infeld started getting messages from a man named Craig, she never imagined just how far his dangerous obsession would go. Take a look.
In 2018, I received a lot of Facebook messages, and I didn't see them right away because I'm not super active on Facebook. The length of the messages and that this person identified themselves as the USATF coach and that they wanted to help me and help me with an injury that I was dealing with. The messages were kind of weird and jumbled, and I was like, this seems inappropriate. And the way he was addressing me was as if we were in a relationship. And I was like, this is odd. That was terrifying to see that in writing. And then I called the police at that point. So we got security cameras installed. I go to court 3 different times. I was able to be granted a stalking protective order that was permanent. And I didn't hear from this person for almost a year and a half. And I started getting a barrage of Instagram messages, a bunch of comments on posts that I had, Twitter messages, things, Facebook things being sent to me. And it was all from this man. And it was just really overwhelming. They were really angry. So I kept blocking accounts, but he kept creating new accounts. I was in touch with Nike, who's my main sponsor. They had looked into him and he had been married at a point, had this traumatic brain injury. Not only was he threatening me and stalking me, but doing this to a multitude of women, knowing he was renting a house less than 2 miles from me. Those two together were pretty terrifying.
And Craig Donnelly was eventually arrested 1 year after police issued his arrest warrant. He's currently in jail awaiting trial on cyber stalking charges. But after 3 years of his nonstop obsession, how is Emily doing? Earlier, we caught up with her. Here's what she had to say. Emily, thank you for being here. So first and foremost, walk us through how it felt whenever you got a message from him. What were you feeling?
It was very anxiety-provoking, pretty scary. He was clearly mentally ill, and I think that aspect of it made me more terrified. It would be an influx of a lot of messages and then wouldn't hear from him for a week or 2 weeks or even a few months, but it definitely left me on edge. My body was kind of on high alert.
You talked about your body being on high alert. How did that affect your performance as an athlete?
Pretty hard to train consistently at that point. I wasn't sleeping really well. I was pretty much a nervous wreck. It was difficult. I think training at this high level is hard enough to do everything you can to stay healthy and to make as many just small gains as you can day in, day out. And having this going on as well, aside from that, was terrifying for my life and just made training extremely difficult.
What was the scariest encounter that you had with him? The whole thing sounds scary.
When he sent a death threat saying he was coming to Portland, Oregon, describing that he felt he was in the right, and then following that up with him being in Portland about a week later was pretty terrifying. Just knowing that he had followed through on traveling that far across the country, I just knew I had to get out of Portland at that point.
I can't even imagine what you must have gone through. I mean, we see this in films and in books, but you never really think that it could happen to you. When you heard that Craig Donnelly had been arrested, finally, what was your reaction in that moment?
I thought it was never going to end. It seemed like I was going to be told at a moment's notice I had to leave again for X amount of time. I felt really relieved to know that he was in custody and felt safer being in my home. And I'm still having some anxiety. Some days are easier than others, but I feel overall relief. I still feel bad for him, and I hope that he's able to get some help as well. But for me, just my day-to-day, I feel a lot more relief.
So Emily, you just said you feel empathetic for him. Why?
I just feel bad for him because I don't know his situation. It makes me really sad what he went through, the injury, and then now kind of the repercussions of that, because I'm sure he was a normal guy before that. I hope he gets help, and I hope that he's able to become his normal self again.
No, I get it.
You know, your empathy for someone who changed the course of your life in so many ways is remarkable, but our empathy resides with you. So now that he's in jail, what does your future look like?
Thank you for being so sweet. I have a lot of goals athletically I want to achieve. I'm getting married in October, which is really exciting. I want to show that I'm more than this thing that has happened to me, and that you can go on from this and you can live your normal life, happy life. And I think for me, that's what I'm focused on right now.
A lot of people can learn from you, and we're so thankful, number one, that you're okay, but to your point, we cannot wait to see what's in store for you, competing. Congratulations on the wedding, very exciting, and we just really appreciate you being here and being so transparent.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you all for having me, and I hope this helps anyone else who's dealing with something similar.
You better believe it is. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.